Why did Russia start this war?
Well, I mean, if you wanted a sort of a theoretical 30,000-foot answer, Putin has repeatedly referred to the collapse of the Soviet Union as the greatest disaster of the 20th century. And he meant it, right? And so he's been trying, and he hasn't been shy about it ever since he's been in charge, which seems now like about 100 years, to recreate the glory, the strength of the former Soviet Union in some capacity. Not entirely. He's not crazy, but he is completely jonesing for some form of a stronger Russia. And in his mind, that means he's got to have a buffer zone between him and NATO, right? And so this is part of that. He also considers, if you think about it, right here, he's basically saying, "This is mine," right? If you think that,
which is the east of
this is the eastern part of Ukraine, right here is Ukraine. Front line, this is not, I mean, I'm simplifying this, but the front line stretches about 600 miles. He's also annexed, of course, Crimea, but that's another issue here, and that's the only port for their Black Sea fleet, which the Ukrainian military has frankly destroyed almost at this stage of the game. But they own, at this stage, they've got about 20% of Ukraine. If you were to say, stop the shooting now, and then the problem is that at the outset of this war, Zelensky and the Ukrainian government said, the only answer here is total victory. We have to get all our territory back. Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, we have to get it all back. And that is not, again, it's not satisfying to say this, but it's not possible, right? So the problem that is being faced right now is when this war got started in the first year and a half, everybody was, they were putting their flags, Ukrainian flags on their porch. They were putting a little flag on their X site, their Twitter site. And there's no doubt the Ukrainian military has been incredibly courageous, and the population of Ukraine has put up with a great deal. Look, the months of September and October of this year, those 2 months, there's only been one night when Kyiv hasn't been under attack by Russian drones, right? Which is, if you think about it, is insane, right? And that's just Kyiv. All their major cities have also been under attack by the Russians. They've destroyed much of their energy infrastructure. Now, a bright spot was for the Ukrainian military was that they did a surprise offensive into Kursk, which is Russian territory. And in doing that, that was the first time there were foreign troops on Russian turf, right, since World War II. And that really shocked the hell out of Putin and the Russian military. And they acted as if they really didn't know how to respond, didn't have the resources to respond. But this is a game of attrition, right? We're going into our full third year early this coming year. And what's kept them in the fight is U.S. support and EU or NATO support. And the EU's done a very good job. I mean, look, they've picked up a great part of the effort. Without that support, this thing would never have lasted this long, never. And so I think Putin, in part, has been very surprised. He miscalculated a lot of things, but he miscalculated the sort of support that Ukraine would receive from NATO in particular. And now...
And why is NATO giving so much support? Why is this in their interests?
Well, think about where Ukraine is.
Yeah.
Think about where Poland is. Look, Russian missiles have flown errantly into Poland. Their history tells them or informs them that if Putin takes this...
Ukraine.
Yeah, it takes Ukraine, then it's not as if he's going to say, okay, I'm done, I'm finished, right? They believe, now whether they're right or not, this answers the question about why such strong NATO support. They believe that that's not his inclination, right? It's not in his character to say, that's all I want, I'm good.
What do you think?
I take him at his word when he says he wants to recreate the former Soviet Union in a fashion. Do I think this is enough of a buffer from NATO for him? I don't think so. Do I think he might consider moving a little bit further north? Look, he already has. This is Belarus. Belarus is a solid ally of Putin. But is there a chance that, he says to himself, well, maybe over here, he's already made verbal threats up here.
Is that Latvia?
Latvia, yeah. And so I think I understand what their mindset is. It's like Israel, right? Sometimes it's like, oh my God, why is Israel acting the way they do? Well, because they're surrounded by a ring of terrorist proxies that all are there to serve the purpose of the Iranian regime, which is to destroy Israel. So that's their mindset, right? We don't live there. We don't understand it. So to say, okay, well, that's ridiculous for someone in the U.S. to go, it's ridiculous that that's Putin. Okay, well, fuck off. You don't live here, right? You're not in Poland watching this if he takes over Ukraine. And so...
And World War II wasn't so long ago.
Exactly.
And it wasn't until I studied World War II, which actually wasn't very long ago, it was about 6 months ago, that I understood the sort of geopolitical backdrop as to why you need to defend Ukraine. Because when you see, you can probably explain it better than me, but what Hitler did